It was a while ago. I think someone posted it on Discord. There was this rat that someone made that uses Gmail, and it was actually really quite interesting because at the same time, I had been going through in school through a portion of the material that was covering some of like an overview of a lot of viruses and like exploits and stuff. And this one was really interesting because what it does is it uses Gmail and some really common ports in computers that are oftentimes not blocked because you need email for a lot of things. And this is fully undetectable per se because it's using Gmail and Gmail traffic to send the commands over to the victim's machine. So basically, they kind of go through and explain, like, it's a fully undetectable C2 server, communicates via Google SMTP, which is basically the, email sending protocol. If you've set up your own email server, SMTP is the protocol used to send email, and this is to evade antivirus protections and network traffic restrictions. We get deeper into it, and you'll see why they use what protocols they use, and kind of doesn't quite explain why, but it's really simple as to why. So it uses Gmail traffic, which is basically pretty much like unblocked across the board, because Gmail's well known and is known for not being spam or virusy. If you're using your own domain, which is very possible if you're using your own email server, you can basically go through and use your own, but you run the risk of being blocked because it's an unrecognized server with all the DMARC and DKIM settings not set up properly, and all the certificates not unverified. So using Gmail gives you all that verification backend, and it's less likely to be blocked. So basically, they do warn this is basically for educational purposes. Don't upload any payloads to the site at the whatever virus total. Don't be dumb about it. So the setup process is actually pretty simple. This is mostly a Python script that you run on your machine, the master machine, and then all the other victim machines basically get a different payload, Python payload. So you create two Gmail accounts, and these two accounts are basically like your receiver and your sender. So you need to, so when you're setting this up, you also need to set it up so that the Gmail accounts are set up so that you can do SMTP and IMAP stuff with it for other clients, and you may have to set up like older password stuff for it, which is less secure, but for this purpose, it's gonna still go through. So you need your first account, which is the first Gmail, and then your second account, and then on your server, what you do is you set up your SMTP server. If you've got a different SMTP, let me actually zoom this in so it's easier to read. 150%, yeah, that's good. So this first one, your SMTP server and user, is basically kind of like if you've got a separate email, then you can put, or SMTP server you want to use, then you can put that in. So a different verified one, more than likely, but Gmail will simplify the process and is more verified across the board. Then you've got your user, where you put in your email account, of course, your Google account that you've just created. And then your key, which app password. So you can set up an app password, that's right, for different apps, and it basically sandboxes the authentication through that app. And then your IMAP server, now you use IMAP for this one because if you use POP3, it's going to download those messages, but IMAP, every client is still able to read the email, even if it's detected as being already read. They can all read it and then later on sync it up to the server that like, hey, this has been read, which really doesn't matter. But if each of the clients is looking at that IMAP server, then what's going to happen is all of them are going to see this unread email, which is the command that they're going to execute, and they're going to look at it and then execute it, and then they'll sync it back saying, hey, this is read already, and go from there. So if everybody's basically on at about the same speed, then it should work. Otherwise, I haven't looked at the script, but it may check for, since last email, is there a new one manually? It may be marked as read or unread, but it'll look for that and then execute the command. And then, of course, your IMAP email, which is your second one, of course. So then you go to the client, you set up IMAP so that it's only looking at the IMAP. So it looks at the IMAP server, the email, second password, and then your first Gmail is basically you're filtering out who you're getting the emails from, and then the SMTP server. So that's your basic setup, and then if you're running it, your server is going to be, well, for most Linux systems now, you don't have to specify Python 3. That might be an Ubuntu thing. I am not sure, but most distros, as far as I know, have regular Python as Python 3 now, so it should run just fine with just the same command as Windows on your server side. So let's see. So yeah, you do get shell access through sending emails to your systems, which is kind of funny to think about. System info, you can gather system info, persistence, what is it? Remind me again. Persistence basically means it kind of like keeps the state and stays around pretty much. So like if you've got a persistent live USB, you've got a portion of that USB that is able to save files, so it's able to save different things to a certain area, at least on the disk, that it's got sandboxed in at least. Let's see, FUD ratio, bypass any EDR solutions, bypass any network restrictions. Again, they're using Gmail for this. So for the most part, everything's going to go through. So you would basically have to have filters set up to filter out commands, but depending on how they structure the email, then it may still get through because there are legitimate reasons for someone like tech support email or a client that you're working with emailing a command asking like, is this the right command? So yeah, being sent in base 64 and decoded on the server side. So it's all encrypted anyway, so it's not like they're going to be able to read it unless they've got the keys for it. No more TCP. Okay, yeah, so no handshakes. So you're not creating a constant connection. You're using emails. So the Google's email server becomes your kind of like middleman managing all the interactions. And you're not having to have that constant session handshake going on when you're starting and keeping that session alive. But yeah, it's kind of pretty cool that like you can take something. It's kind of like the YouTube file conversion script where you can store all kinds of files on YouTube by converting it to a video and then like converting it back from the video by downloading it. So that's basically what you're running against, is people are taking advantage of Google servers to do all kinds of things, to include getting remote access to another person's computer and monitor what they're doing and things like that. So again, this evades many antivirus protections and a lot of like network traffic filters because you're going through email and you're encrypting that email in the process. If you enjoyed the video, then like, comment, subscribe, feed the algorithm, boost the video up, share this video with your friends. If you found it informative or you just want to chat, I've got plenty of places in the description, Discord, Guilded, and what have you. Check those out, and I will see you guys in the next one.